top, Vladimir, and on the bottom we have Jack, Rory, Steenkammer, which of course is our Master Duel World Champion, but also playing with TCG, and he's definitely no stranger to the DCG, of course, because, for example, last year in the Dutch National Championship, he was getting into top 4, and I think, to be honest, it was kind of unimportant here on who would win the die roll. I couldn't even tell you who won because Jack brought the interesting choice of the new Tenpai Dragon strategy. And I mean, he wants to go second with that any day, so it's cool to see that he now went second. So he got what he wanted, and there is the normal summon of Swordsoul Moye. Well, it is getting mad with Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit there by Jack, and that could turn down the plays of Vladimir a lot. So we have one very, very new deck with the Tenpai Dragon strategy on the side of Jack, Rory, Steenkammer, but one a little older, but still very, very strong going Swordsoul strategy on the other hand. And I mean, the Swordsoul strategy, even though it didn't get a real support card recently, definitely did get some boost, did get some support by the recent Forbidden Unlimited list, because they are now able again to include Protoss into their deck. So we might see that coming down here. And I mean, it's kind of tough if you are playing a Tenpai deck and you let your opponent start if your opponent then runs a card like Protoss, because that could just totally mean that they know, hey, he sent me first, so they might be on Tenpai, and then they can call the appropriate attribute for Protoss then. But for now, Vladimir keeps on going. We go into a Link Summon. We go into... Actually, I think none of that should work, because we couldn't go for the Link Summon there. Okay, yeah, I think we took back the Link Summon because we can only Synchro Summon when the Moye token is on the field. We go for Shishao. Shishao is going to use its effect to search here, and we are going to grab one Swordsoul card from our deck successfully. So far, Jack, Rory, Steenkammer as a world champion seems all unimpressed by that, and therefore can lean back. Swordsoul also a strategy you can prepare for kind of well. Okay, looks like we did search for Longyan. Longyan now is going to discard a Vishuda, special summoning itself. And, okay, checking the graveyard there. One thing though, we got Oh, look at that. We're banishing 3 cards from our graveyard, and that could be interesting news or maybe bad news for Jack, because we're summoning Protoss, and there is the Nibiru though for Jack, Rory, Steenkammer. That Protoss could have denied so many things, but that Nibiru here is going to be huge. Nibiru just taking care of the entire field here before Protoss would even be able to activate its effect. Also the burn effect of that Longyan is not going to come into play. I was about to talk about the Forbidden Unlimited list, because yes, they got Protoss. We see that Protoss here, but on the other end, Swordsoul players, Swordsoul Enjoyers lost, of course, Baron de Fleur, the also powerful Synchro 10. The monster that would have been able to be summoned here before Protoss is being summoned to protect the Protoss from the Nibiru. But due to its absence, we could not protect our Protoss play here, and we are getting met with a disastrous Nibiru here. And I mean, Jack, let me tell you about the Tenpai Dragon strategy. It doesn't need much for a Tenpai deck to go off. Seriously, like, you just need one card and you're very, very much good to go. And we use 2 here, so we will even be able to start our turn with 4 cards. But looks like Vladimir, even though he got mad with Ghost Ogre and Nibiru, is still not done here yet. Ashuna is being used, and Ashuna is going to summon out a monster from the deck. From now on being locked into Worms, of course, but I mean, we are that far into our turn. I think we're okay with just summoning Worms for the rest of the turn. Okay, and can we even do something with that, to be honest? We can summon out Monk, sure, but is that going to get us anywhere, really? Looks like we do not even summon out Monk, because Jack just announced his turn. He drew a card for turn, and he activates one of the many reasons why Tenpai is now considered to be a top contender in the metagame. Because he just activated the field spell. He just activated Sanguine Summoning. And that says during your main phase, 1 fire dragon monster you control, or all fire dragon monsters you control are unaffected by activated opponent's effect, which is so good because it lets you play around so many things. Effect Veiler, Infinite Impermanence, even Nibiru. And additionally to that, you can also just once per main phase add a Tenpai Dragon from your deck to your hand and then discard a card. We discarded another copy of the field spell. The field spell did already what it was supposed to do, and it now also has the continuous protection effect going. And from now on, we are going to see some monsters being summoned, and we start off with one of the most powerful ones, the Tenpai Dragon Chandra. And it's so good. Those are just unaffected. Look, Vladimir looks into his hand, sees an effect Veiler, and now Jack has to bring him the bad news. You cannot even do that. And look how nicely he's telling him. You did activate that, yes, but it just really didn't do anything because they are unaffected by those activated effects. And now you might be wondering, not a whole lot of stuff happening there, and he already goes into the battle phase, but that's the whole gimmick about the Tenpai Dragon deck, because Tenpai Dragons work in a very special, very unique, very new way, which I think is refreshing to the format, refreshing to the game overall, and therefore they do summon out stuff in the battle phase. And for example, Chandra says, at the start of the damage step, if a monster battles, you can special summon one level 4 or lower fire dragon from your deck, which we just did, and we just summoned out the Tenpai Dragon Pedra there. And Pedra is going to, if it's normal or special summoned, add one Sengen spell trap from your deck, which is now not going to be the field spell anymore. As we're already in battle phase, we cannot do a whole lot with the field spell, but there's a very good search target still, which is Sengen Cayman, which is a quick spell which can do a lot of work for Jack Rory Stinkerman, because the whole strategy of this deck is to make yourself unaffected in the main phase, go into the battle phase, and then keep on summoning monsters one after the other. You just keep on going, and then you can even synchro summon in the battle phase. We did just summon out Sengenpai Bident Dragon, and that took care of the first monster there, which was the Nibiru token. We now get rid of the monster there too. Nibiru gets to direct attack there, and there comes the quick spell that I was just talking about. We just activate Sengen Cayman, and Sengen Cayman says you can apply, or you can activate one of these effects, or if you activated this card during the battle phase, you can apply both of them. So you can add one level 4 or lower fire monster, but you can also special summon one. So look at that. There's more and more Tenpai monsters coming. We're already connected for some damage, but there's even more coming, and that is immediately going to be the game. That is how the deck is designed to go. You just go into the battle phase, quick way to end the game going second. But what if you let them start? They don't have a battle phase going first. So maybe that is the way to approach the problem. And we are going to see who goes first here. Jack looks at his hand quite carefully, so I would expect Jack to start. And indeed, we do let the opponent start. We do let Jack lead things off here. Let's see what kind of strategy he has thought of here if he is sent first. And did he even anticipate that? So we are starting off the game as we did the last game with the activation of the field spell. Sengen Summoning is going to come in, and we are going to go in here. We get the Tenpai Dragon Fadra, and we also again get the Tenpai Dragon Pedra back. And yep, we search for quick spell, but now the question of course is there anything more? Is it just going to be Hieratic Seals? That looks like a Link 2 to me. Like, that is what we kind of expect from this deck going first. So going second, it was incredible. It was powerful, it was quick, it was giving us really, really strong vibes. But now going first, it is just going to be the classic Hieratic Seals pass. But let's not be too fast. It's also backed up by 2 cards in the spell and trap zone, which could be potential ways to stop Vladimir, but Jack Rory is not going to be able to do too much with them because there's a Harpious Feather Duster right away. But do we have something that we can chain there? Yes, we do. We just chain the quick spell that we searched last turn. And this time, though, we can only apply one of the effects as we are in the main phase here. And one card that could have come in here would have been the Dimensional Barrier, but there was no Dimensional Barrier. And therefore, let's see. Okay, that is looking good. There's Ash Blossom, though, for the Swordsoul Emergent, and Jack kind of leaning into his hand, looking like he doesn't have anything else to interrupt. Of course, there is still the seal. And let's face it, one seal against a Swordsoul, that could theoretically be enough, but that is a good way to play around that seal here. We go special summon Ashuna. Ashuna is linked off into a Monk, and immediately Jack has to get rid of that Monk by using the effect of the Hieratic Seal. Okay, but now if Vladimir has Moye or Taya or something like that, he could just still go in here. But first of all, let's not be too quick. Jack is going to summon out a dragon from his deck. Which one is it going to be, though? Is there maybe an option that also... Yeah, okay, we just go for one of our Tenpai dragons. There is not a Korkimeru dragon or something like that, something funky. It is just going to be a monster that is not really any kind of interruption here. So, if Vladimir continues to... Oh, that looks like a normal summon Moye to me. Swordsoul Moye is going to be summoned, and of course it's also going to use its effect. And looks like, oh, Jack is thinking about it. And I mean, the thing is, if we have Ogre again here, for example, it is not as impactful as it was in the last game, because there is already an Ashuna in the graveyard. Okay, we do still use the Ogre, but as I said, there's Ashuna in the graveyard, meaning the token, of course, still coming to the field. And if we just use Ashuna in the graveyard, we can then bring out a level 4 tuner from, or not, a level 4 non-tuner from our deck from the Tenny package. But we go for medium here instead. Oh, Vessel it is, rather. Oh. Grabbing ourselves probably that set Tenny, so we don't even need to go for it through the Ashuna. And Jack doesn't look too happy there at the moment. It is right now Vladimir going strong, going second. And I mean, let's be honest, this deck also is historically known to perform really, really well going second, to be very good at putting up a lot of damage in one turn. Now we're going to summon out Vishuddha. We're also going to bring out Adara. And I mean, that is also additionally another creative way that Vladimir found here to get to a synchro monster, because we just disregarded the token that was sitting there on the field. We just found a way to bring out Adara and Vishuddha, making that a level 1 tuner and a level 7 non-tuner, leading to a Shishao being summoned here as our synchro 8 of choice. That is, of course, going to search out another Swordsoul monster. And there's Longyan coming now. Longyan with a token. Does Jack have a Nibiru again? Does not look like it. So for the first time in this duel, we're going to synchro off that Longyan, and we're going to deal 1,200 life points damage to the life points of Jack Rory Steenkammer. And we're also going to bring out the... That looks like... Yeah, that is Sinister Longyan. Basically his big brother, if you want to say so. And that is going to be very, very powerful too against the Tenpai strategy. So, first damage being dealt, but do we have enough to maybe go for game here in this turn? That is the big question. We did not use the effect of... Oh, and we also do not use the effect of... I thought we were for sure going to use Vishuddha here, but no. We just go into the battle phase. And now, I don't know whether Vladimir thought of that, but... we're just also going to use the effect of Tenpai Dragon Chandra now on our opponent's turn. So, no, we're not going to use this offensively here, but we can, of course, still use it defensively to just summon out more and more monsters from our deck. And look at that. All of a sudden, very, very quickly, Jack is just bringing back the entire family. Hydra is on the field back from the graveyard. There's Fadra coming out through the effect of Chandra. And we're now also just searching the quick spell again. So... I'm not really sure whether that is how Vladimir envisioned this battle phase to go, to be honest. Kind of certain he kind of planned that otherwise. Ay. And now Jack is explaining again, because I think Vladimir now wanted to make sure, can I now attack carefully, or can they just summon out more monsters? Is there more coming? So that's very, very good news for Jack, because I think if he gets another turn here, it is kind of a reverse situation again. He then, in fact, still was going first in that entire game, but then it feels like he's going second again as he gets the tools again to just go with a lot of attack points, maybe find his way into the fields by protecting his place in the main phase, and then just do a whole lot of stuff in the battle phase, of course. But let's see. Oh. We're now debating on whether to use the effect of Sinister Longyan. And attacking. Oh. Yeah, let's not forget about that. We can not only summon out monsters from the deck, we can also just synchro summon on our opponent's turn, of course. And we have done that just there. And that is going to be Tenpai Transcendent Dragon. And that guy has 3,000 attack points and therefore is able to withstand. And now all monsters your opponent controls must attack if able. And your opponent cannot activate cards or effects during the battle phase. So we already have a protection way in the main phase. But now we have an additional protection way in the battle phase as well. And the most funniest thing, and we just saw that applying, is if this card is synchro summoned, you can change all monsters on the field to attack position. So that little token there with only 0 attack has to now go into attack position and attack into that big Tenpai Transcendent Dragon. Of course, dealing a lot of damage to Vladimir himself now. That is kind of hilarious there. So, what's up next? Okay, is that now the turn of Jack? It almost looks like it. Yep, we just bring out Chandra, and that is the fist bump. It's going to be over here.